All right. This is a very nice woman. I met her once. She's cool as hell. So I want to put that out there first.
Who?
Shannon Fisher. This is her story. It's in the Huffington Post. I'm gonna write a story. It was extremely well written. And yes, this is me buttering her up because I'm about to tear these guys anyway. So take it with a grain of salt. Tom Daschle, Senate Majority Leaders Tom Daschle and Trent Lott talked about their crisis point, why we must and how we can overcome broken politics in Washington and across America. And I read this article, and it was well written. All right. There's one interesting part I want to hit first, and then I'll go back to my main point. Neither the side has clean hands on the stalemate that has formed surrounding SCOTUS, Supreme Court of the United States seat vacant upon the passage of Justice Scalia. What they do at their own peril, said Daschle. There is no political advantage of not doing things. That seems to be all they did for the past 8 years. They didn't do anything. Republicans didn't do squat. In fact, on the night Obama was inaugurated, they were essentially in a room. All of them were talking and made the decision to have unyielding opposition to everything. Do you know that the healthcare plan that Obama passed was a Heritage Foundation plan? The Heritage Foundation is a deeply conservative foundation. They call it a think tank. It's not a think tank. It's just something they use to push out ridiculous ideas into the public. Unyielding opposition. So the idea he can say, there is no political advantage of not doing things. That doesn't seem to be proven out by the evidence. I mean, to be honest, when Obama went in, he had House, Senate, supermajority in the Senate, and he won the presidency. Also, the interesting part is, neither side of the aisle has clean hands with the stalemate that is formed surrounding the SCOTUS. What the hell do you mean neither side has clean hands? Yeah, no. One side has clean hands, the other has very dirty hands. It is their job to review and choose a Supreme Court pick. The president can make that pick. It's in the Constitution. Look it up. The president has that authority. These guys had gotten to the point where saying, when they thought Hillary was going to win, oh, we don't need a Supreme Court. We can just chuck it. I'm okay with the Supreme Court having 3-3. Even John McCain, a friend of mine said, yeah, John McCain is a sensible one. I said, do you know who said that they could just chuck the Supreme Court? Who? John McCain. Whether they have clean hands or not, you have to admit, one side is dirtier than the other. And in this case, the Republicans have said, we don't even want to hear who the president wants. We do not care who the president wants. We do not even want to talk about this issue. This issue is closed until after the election. And they let that seat go vacant for a year. The idea that either one of these guys are having this conversation is outside the bounds of reality. It just is. I don't know what he's talking about right there. And it gets worse. So the worst part is in reading this. You know, they have all these high-minded ideas and everything else. Politics is not high-minded. At least not now. It's pretty basic and pretty simple. I give you cash, you do what I want you to do. It's that simple. I don't know what these guys are talking about. And in the entire conversation, I didn't hear one word mentioned about cash. Nobody said anything about money. They believe that they can fix the broken divide and offer solutions without even mentioning money. They don't even mention the corrupting influence of cash. I'm gonna take this seriously if they can't even do that. So, I wanted to show this guy. Where is he? That's not what I wanted to show. Babe,
what are we doing?
Babe, what happened? What's that?
What are you doing?
Damn it. Alright. This guy. Here we are. Alright, so 60 Minutes. Fundraiser demands turning lawmakers into telemarketers. So one of the guys, his name was Representative Jolly. He came out.
Jolly?
His name was Jolly, yeah. Yeah, here it is. David Jolly. Came to Washington after winning a special election in 2014, and he was surprised by what he was told was his number one priority, fundraising. Your job is to sit in a booth 70% of the day. and earn cash. Make calls. Pay for play. That was his job. And Jolly kind of came out and was like, that's my job? Your job, new member of Congress, is to raise $18,000 a day. Your first responsibility is to make sure you hit your $18,000 a day mark. That's your job. Your job isn't governance. Yeah, you'll get to that. But your job is to make that
money.
cash. Make that money. Because, and look, there's a logic to it. In Senate seats, and Senate and House of Representative seats, the person with the most cash wins like over 90% of the elections. So if you can hit your benchmarks, you have a 90% chance of winning. So if that's your reality, if your reality is, I need to get as much cash as necessary to win my race, because really, cash is the thing that makes my race. Are you now still having high-minded conversations about politics? Is it really about politics at that point? Or is it really about who's paying me? Who's giving me that cash? Hey, I need you to do something. Donald Trump made this really great statement. He says, I gave them money, and when I called, they picked up the phone. I believe him. I mean, after all, he said his main job is to fundraise. If that's your main job, then everything else is subservient to you fundraising, right? Wouldn't that include political favors? I mean, wouldn't that include voting particular ways that maybe your party wouldn't necessarily espouse your values? So if you're a small government Republican, what are you doing voting for this bloated military? Or what are you doing trying to invade people's space in regards to, their sexual preferences? I mean, come on. $18,000 a day. So what do these guys do when they're making millions from people? Like when they're getting $7.5 million checks, $10 million checks. What are you willing to do for that cash, particularly if it's a thing that helps you in elections? So when I look at this book, or this article, and I don't see it, my first thought is, what are they talking about? How are you ignoring the elephant in the room? I know a lot of times mainstream news guys, when they're having their talks, they talk about donations as if it's the thing that determines a viability of a candidate. If you're talking about bribes as the thing that determines the viability of a candidate, what do you think he's going to do for those bribes? I keep saying it just seems so ridiculous to me that they call these donations. But hey, whatever. It's an interesting read.
Sorry.
It's an interesting
camera
read.
malfunction.
I think people should read it. I do think the one thing they need to inject in is, where's the talk about cash? If you're not talking about cash, you're not talking about politics. And these guys aren't talking about cash. That sounds bad, but that's true. I swear to God, I mean you no harm. I'm just saying, these guys are saying a lot of stuff that have nothing to do with reality. If you're going to have a conversation about politics, the first thing you have to have the conversation about is who's paying the person. Look, let me put it this way. If you want to know how a person's going to vote, you look at who's paying them. Hands down. You look at who's paying them. I'm going to give you a bunch of money. The public is not really paying attention to you because the public is so busy living their lives. So I'm giving you a bunch of money. Who are you going to respond to? The person who's giving you a bunch of money, me, who's paying attention to you, or the guy who's working just a shitty job, just trying to keep his family going, and who's not paying attention to this politician. This politician is going to take that money, and it's going to run ads, giving a false narrative to the person who essentially, about the person who just bribed him, to get this guy to vote for him. All right. And last story. What's wrong? Hands tired. Alright, last story. I'll make it quick. So in one of my other videos, I know that many of the people that